Hello and welcome into Talking Bengals. I'm your host, Casey Sprague, joined by my other two hosts tonight because Bernsey is out of action. Put him on the day-to-day list on the injury report. But we're joined by Hoop. Nick, Hoop, how we doing?
Hey.
I like it. Josh, how you doing?
Doing just peachy.
Well, everyone in the tri-state area is tired of not seeing the sun. We would all settle for seeing the sun at least once a week. That would be nice. Yeah, I did. Ugly, miserable, crappy with a chance of crappy. That's the weather here. Just like the feelings within our souls right now of who's going to the Super Bowl. Oh, it's just – I've not been this disappointed in who's playing in a Super Bowl game since 2013 when it was the Ravens and the 49ers. And it was almost the Ravens and the 49ers again, but somehow the Chiefs made it through. I mean, is Lamar Jackson actually Dak Prescott? I'm not sure. We're going to have to confirm and see if that's a real thing or not. But let's get into that Ravens and Chiefs game first. So, Josh, what are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I think it kind of showed us all what we've been saying for years about Lamar Jackson. He cannot get it done in the biggest game. He relies so heavily on his ability to run the ball, and he's the best that's ever done it. He's better than Michael Vick. The only difference is Michael Vick was a better passer, and he knew when to use his legs and when to throw the ball. Lamar Jackson, just every time he gets it, he expects to run. I think they only ran the ball as a team, 8 times that game? Other than that, it was Lamar Jackson and Lamar Jackson only. Receivers couldn't get open, so he decided to just tuck it and go, and that kind of game plan was not going to win. It wouldn't win the AFC Championship, and it wouldn't win the Super Bowl. And unless they can figure out something else, I don't see anything ever changing because Lamar Jackson, that's just who he is.
I mean, he's probably – it sounds terrible to say, but he's one of the least impressive MVPs in league history. He looks a lot more like a Heisman Trophy winner, which he was. Which, he's a fantastic athlete. I'm never going to take anything away from his athletic ability. Great athlete. But when you're putting up the same kind of numbers, I saw a statistic this week where in the last 3 seasons, and the last 3 seasons of Tyrod Taylor's career, when he was a starter, they were basically the same guy. The difference is you have a rushing quarterback who's getting all kinds of rushing yards and touchdowns. Well, you know who did a lot of that in college? Lamar Jackson, but also like Johnny Manziel. Does anybody remember Eric Crouch from the late or early 2000s Nebraska? He did that too. He was a great running quarterback. Couldn't hack it in the NFL. And it's a year the Bengals had an off year. Lots of crap happened to them. The Steelers, yes, they made the playoffs. Congratulations. But they weren't good. They were not good. The Browns, pedestrian, honestly. The defense looked great at times, and they didn't look good at other times. So, yeah, he's beating up on a division that wasn't quite all there. And he played a lot of teams that didn't know how to stop that kind of quarterback. The Chiefs apparently do. They did their homework. They looked up, okay, this is what you need to do to Lamar. You need to contain him, make him throw the ball. Don't let him be able to get his rushing attack going. And when they did that, he didn't know what to do. I mean, not that I'm trying to pick on Lamar too much because I said fantastic athlete. And I don't know how much you buy into the Wonderlic scores or whatever. But of active players, he has the lowest of anyone.
I don't even know what that is. You're talking stats.
No, that's the test they give them when they come out of college to see like how smart they are.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I'm not trying to pick on the guy, but you're just like, okay, at what point are things not clicking? Because if I had to pick who is the best team in the NFL this year, I'd have honestly said the Ravens. It hurts me to say that. But the Bengals had a crap year once Burrow went down. They did the best they could. Defense wasn't there. But when I watched several Ravens games, they looked like the most put-together team, the most complete team. And what happened? He just fell flat on his face. Yeah, a quarterback has to make up for shortcomings in the playoffs. That has to happen, or else you're not going to be successful. And the guy who won the game, it hurts me to say it, but he does that. Patrick Mahomes does make up for shortcomings. He usually gets a little bit of extra help here and there, but he does. That's what he does. He makes up for the shortcomings of his receivers, the defense, whoever makes a mistake, he seems to always bring his team back, and that's the difference. And this is a bad Chiefs team compared to years past, and we're talking about them in the Super Bowl. But, this isn't talking Chiefs or talking Ravens. I wish they both could have lost. and hopefully both teams lose in the Super Bowl. But let's look at that other game. And Nick, start us off here, Lions and 49ers.
Well, it started off real strong for the Lions. Dan Campbell had a great attack going in. Made a couple calls throughout the game to go on, 4th and short. Some people would have said that it would have been better for him to, just take the field goal. Just take the field goal. That's not the way that he's coached all year. It's not the way he's been successful. He had been there the entire reason why he was even there with the Detroit Lions was being high risk, high reward. It has paid off for him in the past. And when they hit that wall that the 49ers defense put up, it just, stopped them in their tracks. The 49ers came out in the second half, made the needed adjustments on defense, made the necessary adjustments on offense, and did what a good team does, put them away. And, it was convincing in that second half. Brock Purdy definitely showed that he's supposed to be there. I hate to say it, but I would rather root for the 49ers to win over the Chiefs any day. If I had to root for one of the teams, I would root for the 49ers over the Chiefs just because I don't want the focus to be on anything but football. And it seems like right now the focus is on everything but football in the NFL. And
Yes.
I strongly dislike that. Granted, the Chiefs and Taylor Swift, they're doing, wonders for the NFL for bringing in a whole bunch of money for the Swifties and all that. If you're a Swiftie, whatever, you do you. I'm 100% not for my reasons, but I don't know. I don't like the fact that the attention is put away from football. It should be about the players on the field, not about who's up in the stands or in one of the suites. And I find it a little bit grotesque, to be quite honest with you, that they've even taken the focus off of those players who's worked their butts off to get to that point in their career. This is the pinnacle in all of those players' careers. I mean, heck, Travis Kelce, he might follow his brother's footsteps and retire if they were to win the Super Bowl. What higher pinnacle can you go out on? You're one of the most successful tight ends that's ever played the game. You've caught more passes, more completed passes, and more touchdown receptions than any other tight end in the league, or even wide receivers even, wasn't it? I mean, what better way to go out? I mean, your brother's already retired. You've made all your money. You've got all these endorsements. Ride that out. Write out your name and the endorsements as long as you can. Save your money and, save the rest of your life. So that way you can enjoy it, hopefully with some kids or something.
Well, see, that makes me actually, not that I'd ever say I'm openly cheering for the Chiefs, but if it's going to get rid of Travis Kelce, then okay, I'm okay with that. Let's just go ahead and get him out of here.
Get rid of Taylor Swift too.
Well, I mean, the other thing that would be interesting to know is something that we don't think about. So Joe Burrow's been in the league, 4 years. 2 of those years, he's had catastrophic injuries that have ended his season. And then at the end of the Super Bowl, he had another major injury. He was limping off the field, but that was the last game of the year. But he'd have probably missed time if those, any more games. Patrick Mahomes never misses critical games. I don't know how that's possible. He has a good line. That's the thing. If you look at his pressure percentage compared to the rest of the league, it's incredible. He's kept up and kept clean more than anybody else. But yeah, at some point, that's not going to be the case. At some point, he's going to have an injured year because, Brady even had 2 or 3 injured years. So if I was Kelce and you do win the Super Bowl this year, maybe it's time to hang it up before you get into some of those ruts, because no quarterback in the history of the NFL has stayed healthy for 10 to 12 years. That just doesn't happen. So at some point,
even Brett Favre had his injury years.
Brett Favre, Joe Montana, Steve Young, all those, any guy you want to name, Aikman, whoever, they've all had injuries. They've all had seasons either cut short or really didn't happen at all hardly because they're out. So it's going to happen. So yeah, Travis Kelce, I'm not going to ever cheer for the Chiefs, but if you leave and retire, I'm going to be glad to see you go. I'll say that right now. But that's enough talking about, really topics we don't care that much about. It's already the off season. It's baseball season. But we'll look into some good moves. So Brian Callahan, happy trails. We talked about that last week, on his way to Tennessee. And Dan Pitcher was promoted from within, which none of us were surprised about. We're glad they didn't bring in the Afro guy from Seattle. As soon as I saw that they interviewed him, I was like, what? Is this just so they can say they interviewed somebody? Which I'm assuming it was. I mean, Dan Pitcher's been with the team since 2016. Marvin brought him in initially, and Zach Taylor thought enough of him to keep him around. He's sought after in the league. He had 3 different interviews other than the Bengals, who went to New England. Then he had interest from New Orleans and Las Vegas. So it wasn't like he's a guy that was like, oh, this is, Bill Lazor. We're just going to promote him because Kim Zampese sucked. No, it's not that case. It's actually a guy that's wanted by the rest of the league. He has a lot of, great ideas. He's probably on the fast track to be a head coach. I mean, he could be a one and done. And I hope he is a one and done if the Bengals win the Super Bowl. Just go, yeah, dude, you can come in here, win a Super Bowl, and you go be a head coach somewhere else. That's totally fine. I don't care. Give me that ring. That's all I want. Just want one. Just one. I'll be fine with it. Lots of them if we could, but if I get one, I'll be happy. Anyways, I digress. Any thoughts on Dan Pitcher, Josh?
I think it was a great pick. He was a quarterback coach. Joe Burrow goes out. You've got Jake Browning making his first start, and he's looking great. So it shows that he really knows what he's doing working with the quarterbacks, and that's what got Zach Taylor head coaching job when he was with the Rams. So, I mean, being a good quarterback coach, I'm not saying Zach Taylor's any offensive genius by any means, because he does have his questionable play calling, but the offense for the most part has been it's been able to be functional even without Joe Burrow. So if that's any indication that Dan Pitcher knows what he's doing, running any part of the offense, and I'm encouraged. Designing a game plan, hopefully it'll be something different from what we've seen, but that's going to be whatever the heck I'm trying to say here. We'll see. Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a great hire from within. Sometimes I think it's a better idea to hire from outside to bring in what you're looking for. Not in this case. I think Dan Pitcher brings it all to the table. He's definitely been able to show that he can help develop young quarterbacks. Look at what he did with Jake Browning. He's helped Joe Burrow. And, he's been there through Joe Burrow coming in, through his development, getting to where he is now in the, playing at that high level. And also getting Jake Browning at that high level and working with Jake Browning and Joe Burrow together, getting them there. So I think it was a good hire. I think it'd be interesting to see who they do bring in to replace him as the QB coach. Is Tom Brady available?
He's got to deal with Fox for next season. He's not coming.
Yeah, I don't know. What are we looking for in a QB coach? Because what we were looking for is now our offensive coordinator. So
there's a guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's another internal candidate, and he may get promoted to quarterback coach. I'd have to look it up, but I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head. But it's a good hire. You're not going to, shake things up too much. I think if next season goes terribly, that's when you'll see major shakeups. If you miss the playoffs again, heaven forbid, but if it happens, that's when you'll see major shakeups. You'll see coordinators getting fired. You'll see all kinds of stuff like that, because then you can't, especially if Burrow's healthy, then you can't justify keeping people around. So hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully we're talking about getting ready to hoist the Lombardi Trophy this time next year. But, we got to just wait and see. Unfortunately, that's the name of the game, and we've got a long way to go, and that kind of segues us right into our next topic. We've been doing looking at different positions. We saw defensive backs the first time we looked at a couple weeks ago. Go back and check out that episode. Last week, we looked at the running back positions, and we're wondering if Chris Evans is still alive. We've still yet to confirm that. So we'll have to keep looking if he's still alive. Chris, if you're out there, give us a call, buddy. We're worried about you. But this week, we're looking at the linebacker position. So let's talk about linebackers, and don't get all swoon-worthy because he didn't have a great season. Go ahead, Nick. I know you want to talk about first.
I love Logan Wilson. All right. He had a bad year this year. Okay, whatever. We know what he's capable of. I think that, with the cap space, we're not going to have a whole bunch of room to go out and pick up, top talent from other teams to bring them in. Not unless we're willing to drop some big names just to get a linebacker. And with a good linebacking core, you have two veterans right now with Pratt and Wilson. What's the chances of going out and getting a decent linebacker or two in the draft or in, or undrafted free agents, somebody we can sign fairly cheap and not have to take too much off the cap space that we have, and to be able to utilize Wilson and Pratt to then be able to develop those linebackers into, top talent, to then be able to keep them here in Cincinnati. I think that that's going to be something that the Bengals are looking for right now. Who can come up and be the next man up if Logan Wilson were to go down, if Pratt were to go down. And honestly, yeah, Pratt had a bad year. Wilson had a bad year. Whoop-de-doo. Pretty much the whole team had a bad year, except for Jake Browning. I mean, the punter couldn't even get an average punt over 40 yards. So
we don't talk about Robbins.
No, but I mean, on a serious note, I think that, next year linebacking core, I think we're going to be fine. I think that the main focus, again, is going to be that defensive backfield, trying to get coverage sacks. I think that's going to be a bigger issue than our linebacking core. I think we'll be fine.
Josh, what are your thoughts?
So, yeah, the whole linebacking core, Wilson, I mean, he had his bright moments, mainly when he was getting interceptions. Pratt was mostly non-existent this season. I'm wondering if there's something with the scheme that maybe the rest of the NFL has figured out how to kind of neutralize the linebackers, because I mean, the past 2 years, everyone was talking about how great the scheme was on defense, and Lou Anarumo's #1 next head coach. Everybody wants him. But I'm wondering if some of that stuff has been caught up with. Because, I mean, yeah, the whole back end, they're all rookies and second-year guys. They're athletic, though. They're fast. Same with the linebackers. I mean, they're athletic. Pratt isn't as much. He's just a big dude. And he knew where to be at the right time, except this year he just didn't do anything really. They said Wilson had his bright spots, but I really want to know, I guess I haven't looked at the film, obviously, to see if the linebackers were actually in position at all throughout the games, because tight ends ran all over the middle of the field. Linebackers were nowhere to be found. So, I mean, that's something that, yeah, I think they're going to have to address. I don't know how this draft is looking for linebackers. I haven't looked at any of it. But in terms of bringing somebody in, I mean, it's going to start to get a little bit tough, especially after this year, because linebackers, quality ones, make a lot of money. So I think the best thing is going to be look at the draft, because we have a lot of money to spend in a lot of other places. And we don't even know what the secondary is going to bring next year. So we'll have to look to get someone good, develop, and hopefully turn into a quality guy.
I don't even think he wastes a draft pick on a linebacker. I mean, this is, I hate to say hope is our strategy, but it really is. I mean, there's all the glaring holes you have. You had two starting linebackers well, they're not all pro caliber. They're not the greatest players in the world, but they were above average to good linebackers for 2 seasons. 21, 22, they were people you could count on. They were difference makers. And there was times even this season where they looked like that again, and then they would totally fall off. So I think they're probably our comeback position of the year. If you want to say that for the Bengals next year, there's really maybe we'll add that to our Talkin Bengal awards for next offseason, the comeback position of the year. Because if they have a good year next year, that could take a lot of pressure off that young secondary. If they can actually lock down people, cover, that intermediate routes, that can make a big difference. Logan Wilson's not a bad player. And yes, I've been very critical of Jermaine Pratt, and I was like, you need to just cut him now because he forgot how to play football. But maybe he was just in that I just got signed big money. Maybe that was both their problems. I got signed big money. I don't need to worry. But they're probably both embarrassed. If I had to guess, being a man, you have pride. And if you're just playing for money, go ahead and retire. So if you're not playing for money, you should be embarrassed at how you performed, how much of a laughing stock you were, how much of a doormat you were. So you better be working hard this offseason. You better come out and be ready to play. And I'm hoping that they can. I'm hoping that, they make a big difference. Wilson and Pratt really develop. Either ADG or Marcus Bailey, somebody else needs to step up because they can't keep wasting money on the linebacker position. You got a secondary that's very young. You have no pass rush to speak of outside of Trey Hendrickson. You have glaring holes that you have to fill. So with that in mind, you can't keep wasting money on linebackers. I mean, it's as plain and simple as that. Don't waste money on them. Find something else to fill that gap. Any other thoughts on the linebacker position?
Like I said, I think we'll be fine with the linebackers we have and bringing in some undrafted free agents. So,
in the words of my own platoon, our motto was suck less. And that's what the linebackers need to do. Suck less.
That's awesome. I love it.
So, looking at our Who Dey history, it's a bittersweet topic today. Not quite as bittersweet as Chris Henry, so don't worry, we're not going back to that darkness. But Leon Hall was a fantastic corner for the Bengals with so much promise and injuries. Oh, my goodness, the injuries just derailed what could have been, I don't know if I'd say Hall of Fame. You can never predict that. But definitely a few All-Pro appearances because he had the raw skills, the talent, the ability. And he did have a renaissance as basically playing the slot or the nickel. Sorry, wrong side of the ball, the nickel. So, Josh, what are your thoughts on Leon Hall?
Leon Hall was one of my favorite defensive players when he was out there. I mean, he was all over the field. You knew what you were going to get. He was going to be reliable, and he was going to shut down just about whoever he was covering. He was somebody who was – he was just ruler of the jungle. What was it, a month ago? Something like that?
A month or so ago.
Something like that. But he was a solid player, somebody that I definitely wish could have played for longer. He's always been a fan favorite for as long as he's been here, and he obviously wants to stay around Cincinnati. So love to see him still coming around, but definitely wish a player like that could have stayed around and kept playing, but oh well, sometimes stuff like that happens in this game. Injuries happen, derail careers, but what who?
What about Leon Hall coming back and helping out coaching the defensive backfield?
Yeah, they could definitely use it.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to be around, let him be around. If you want to pay him, a couple $1,000s here and there to help out, be a consultant, why not? The guy knew what he was doing. Like, he was a great he was a great coverage defensive back. He could tackle like Mike Hilton does now. I mean, he was reliable. You knew exactly what you're getting from, like what Josh was saying. You knew if he was going to cover somebody, most likely he was going to deflect the pass or have a great down on that play. God, it's just a shame that he had to have so many injuries and have his career cut short like that. He was just a reliable football player, reliable defensive back, and you knew what, like I said, you just knew what you were getting from him. And then off the field, I mean, he was a leader on and off the field. I mean, like Josh is saying, still loved in Cincinnati. He's loved in Cincinnati for a reason, because he's just a good dude. So, I mean, what more can you say about him? I mean, it's like talking about like Pecco when he was in Cincinnati. Just absolutely loved him.
Looking at his time in Cincinnati, his first 4 seasons, didn't miss a single game. And then he never had another fully healthy season. It's crazy to think about that. But yeah, he played 16 games from 2007 to 2010. And then he went 9, 14, 5, 15, 14. And then he was out of Cincinnati, and he still never played a complete season. Played 1 year in New York, 1 year in San Francisco, and 1 year in Oakland. I guess LA now, or Las Vegas now. Sorry, Las Vegas now. But yeah, never played a complete season after 2010. That's crazy. But I mean, he had some great memories. He had the only real highlight in the Texans playoff games, either one of those two. The pick 6 gave us all hope, like, oh, we're going to do this. And then it just, Andy Dalton sucks. But, it is what it is.
Andy Dalton was a great guy.
Okay, he's a great guy, but I've never seen any other city boo their starting quarterback at a celebrity softball game, at the All-Star game. That should tell you how Cincinnati really feels about Andy Dalton. But you know why they did that? You guys remember 2013. He single-handedly lost the playoff game against the Chargers. He fumbled 3 times. One of them, no one even touched him. He slipped and he fumbled the ball. I don't even know. We got to come up with a good nickname for Andy Dalton, Come on, there's got to be something.
I'm not good at this part.
Steps Dalton, Butterfingers Dalton, choking big game Dalton, something like that. We'll come up with something better. Don't worry. We'll put it out at some point on the Facebook page and on the Twitters, what the X's people call it. We'll get it out there for everybody. But yeah, he choked in every big opportunity he ever had. AJ McCarron got closer to winning a playoff game than Andy Dalton ever did. So that should tell you something. I like AJ McCarron. I'm not trying to put him down, but I doubt he's on an NFL roster next year. Anyways, talking more about Leon Hall. So he did have that big interception. He had 3 total touchdown returns, 27 total interceptions. Shocking stat in all that time. So over an 11-year career, 2 sacks. That was it, just 2 sacks. So I know corners don't really get a whole lot of them, but you'd think he'd get a few more than that. That's a lot more interceptions than he ever got sacks. Okay, but that's going to be it for what we're going to talk about Leon Hall. Moving on to our next topic is going to be our random topic of this week. So we're going to debate what is the best Bengals uniform combination, past, present, and I've seen some crazy future ones, but we're not going to go quite that far. The only future one I'll let even be discussed would be the really gaudy, in my opinion, orange on orange that some people keep calling for. Anyways, Josh, I'll let you start us off.
I mean, my favorite one, honestly, is the white tiger. It looks clean. It looks nice. I mean, as soon as they came out with that last year, saw another. Well, there you go. That looks nice. I mean, I've always kind of liked the Bengals uniforms. I know people didn't like the old ones. I still kind of like them. But these now, they look clean, and that white tiger is beautiful.
It's hard to argue that one. But I'm going to say it's terrible. It's trash, just for the sake of argument. Nick, which one do you like the best?
I like that gaudy one that you were talking about earlier. I love the orange on orange. I'm an orange guy. I love orange. My background's orange. My favorite color is orange. So, I mean, how do you not like orange? It's such a great color. It's out there. It's a great color to look at. It's Bengals color. Anyways, yeah, I love the orange color. I think that being able to work that in, do like an orange on orange. I think maybe take it into like a retro helmet. With it, with the old leaping tiger on it. I think that'd be pretty cool. Like a all-white helmet with a leaping tiger.
I like that.
Or even an all-black helmet with the leaping tiger.
Ooh, that sounds fancy.
I don't get creative very often, but I think I just had a really good idea right there.
Guess I'm gonna go boring here. I will go with an orange jersey, black pants, and the orange helmet, the orange striped helmet.
That's only because they win a lot.
Yeah, but that's been my favorite look ever since they brought out the orange jersey. It's been my favorite one. And they never wear it enough. They do that stupid black pants, black jersey, and they don't play that great usually when they wear that. Wear the orange jerseys. What?
I like that one too. Black on black.
Like it, but they play like crap usually when they wear that one. It's not like they've lost more big games wearing black on black than any other uniform combination. So, I mean, here's a question for you, though. Would you like to see the Bengals bring back the original Bengals uniform with the word Bengals on the helmet and, the old black jerseys? I think that'd be interesting to see for a season. I don't think I'd want to keep it as your alternate forever, but I think that'd be an interesting one to see at least once.
I think they should just do a throwback. Just one throwback game and just get that one out there. Every team has to have the original uniform for one game.
I think that'd be really cool. Why not? I mean, they act like, they can only have so many uniforms, whatever. Well, you do all kinds of other silly things in the NFL. Why not make that a thing? Wear your throwbacks on week 5 or whatever. Everybody wears their throwbacks. That look really cool. That get more people interested in the game for the right reasons. Learn some history. Get your Who Day history here every week. We'll keep you educated, keep you going.
I mean, they could do it for like a Veterans Day tribute.
Ooh, that'd be a nice one. But then they lose their salute to service dollars. The government pays them good money to act like they care about the military. I'm just saying. They'd lose money that way. So, sorry. That's my own public service.
NFL made enough money with Taylor Swift being there at the Chiefs game, so it's okay.
That's true. That's very true. Oh, gosh. So, yeah, I think we came up with some good ones. So, Nick, except for Nick, he likes that all-orange, gaudy uniform.
Hey, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who likes it. Don't be bashing on us.
You know the problem? The Browns wear a uniform that's almost exactly like that, and it looks terrible. Looks terrible.
Don't have it the poop Browns color. Have it the orange, that burnt orange red. More burnt orange red. Or, you know what I'm talking about. With color, the black,
the color
with
of
the
stuff.
black stripes on the pants, and then have like a black stripe, like black tiger stripes going across the chest with the orange uniform, and have like a black helmet with the leaping tiger on both sides. I think that'd be awesome.
That could look pretty nice. I mean, if you modify it that way, but the ones I've seen is literally just the normal helmet, normal orange jersey, but with orange pants. And I'm just like, it's like orange pants, orange socks, orange cleats, orange everything. You're like, oh gosh, that's a lot of orange. A lot. Not a fan, but it could be worse. It could be worse combinations of it. I don't know what, but I mean, they could go with something totally random and off the top. So I think the white tiger is definitely probably the winner for most people because that looked great. It's a great uniform. I like the, more classic, the orange, black pants. Nick likes gaudy. We're just going to start calling him gaudy over here. His style choice is that way. Well, that kind of wraps us up. Any other random topics we want to bring up? Gents, you got anything you want to bring up?
Oh, I'm good.
I don't know, Lloyd. Rocky Mountains don't look very rocky. John Denver was full of it.
Oh, gosh. Hey, we've stayed on the tracks for the majority of this episode. Now we're just going off.
Hey, let's go off the tracks a little bit.
I will applaud us. Hold on. First, I got to applaud us. We stayed on the tracks. We stayed on script. We got everything we need to talk about. And now we're just going to talk about random stuff for a few minutes. So most people are probably going to turn it off right now. But if you want to stay tuned, you may catch some hilarious things. So don't go too far.
Just maybe. We might make fun of Casey and Josh there with their slick, bald heads. You might be able to see your reflection.
It's right here.
It's running away from your face.
It is. It's just too good looking for my hair.
Nice as my head.
I had, the universe had to even the playing field for people like you, and it's still not even close. I'm still winning by a lot, so it's all right.
Don't be jealous because I don't pick me.
Nature, aerodynamics.
Josh is getting into swimming, apparently.
Just call him Michael Phelps.
Yep. He's got the 5 a.m. workout tomorrow. He's ready for it.
All right, I got a good topic here. All right. Favorite baseball comedy movie?
We did that last week.
No, that was your favorite baseball movies.
I thought it was just sports movie last week.
Yeah, it was just sports movie.
Casey's favorite baseball movies.
Yeah. So favorite baseball comedy, Major League.
It's anything but Major League. Are you even like a sports fan at all? I mean, what a great movie,
that, right?
I mean, Major League's the funniest baseball movie. I mean, there's a couple others that are borderline funny. I mean, Major League 2 has its moments. It's not quite there. Bull Durham is a dramedy. It has funny parts, but it's also a drama. Sandlot is a life lesson story. Field of Dreams is not a comedy. It has funny parts, but not a comedy. I'm trying to think, what are other pure comedies? Mr. 3000, it's okay. Oh my gosh, trying to think what other. Not very many baseball movies are comedies. That's the problem.
What's the Charlie Sheen one?
Major League.
No, I don't think it's
Wild Thing.
Yeah, he's Ricky Bond, the Wild Thing. That's Major League.
No, I was thinking of Hot Shots.
That's net outside for ball 4.
I mean, you could argue Naked Gun for the point when they're in the baseball park and he's the umpire is one of the funniest scenes in cinematic history. If you haven't seen that one recently, go just YouTube that. It's hilarious. Reggie Jackson's trying to kill the Queen of England. It's great. Make the Yankees into villains. I like it. I'm really trying to think what other baseball movies are great comedy. I mean, Summer Catch has some comedy to it. I think it's a very underrated movie just because it's got all of the heartthrobby guys of the late 90s in it. But it's a funny enough movie. It's a good enough little baseball movie. You can't watch it all the time, but it's not bad.
Look back to your childhood, your favorite childhood sports movie.
Josh, what do you got?
See, I'm kind of in Sandlot, and I don't remember the Titans came out, but I like to watch that a lot when I was
Late middle school, early high school.
Somewhere in that.
Yeah, it's in that realm. I watched that movie a lot around that time too.
We were still children. Casey?
Ooh. Just 3 movies. Sorry, actually 4 movies I got to name. I don't think I'm going to steal any from you, Nick. You're already going to mention Sandlot. I know you're going to say Sandlot. But all the best baseball comedies are for kids. Sandlot, Angels in the Outfield, Rookie of the Year, and Little Big League. Those are epic. They're hilarious. I still watch them to this day and have a good laugh at each one of them. But Sandlot, like I said, has a lot more serious stuff. You could say Angels in the Outfield gets a little tugging at your heartstrings at points. But yeah, Rookie of the Year, Little Big League. Hysterical, the math problem scene in Little Big League. If you've never seen the movie, you can just YouTube that. I literally had that the other day with my oldest daughter. She was doing a math problem, and I was just like, why don't they just mow the whole yard at one time? I don't get why they'd mow different parts of the yard. It's going to look terrible. These math problems don't make any sense. But luckily for me, I have Google. So as you can tell, I do not work as an accountant. That's not my role in the world. So, yeah, those are mine. Nick, what you got?
All right. My 2 favorite that I would literally watch on repeat was Sandlot. All right. My favorite scene in Sandlot, outside of Benny running from the dog, right? Benny getting chased by the beast throughout the entire city, is Squints when Winnie Peppercorn is, and he opens his eyes and he's just got that glare.
This magic moment.
My favorite part of any movie in my entire life, it's every time it just cracks me up because just seeing that that teenage boy just
deep crap.
And then well, they wind up getting married at the end too. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun.
And then
spoiler alert, people that haven't seen Sandlot, it's like a
God,
30-year-old movie at this point.
If you haven't seen Sandlot by now, you just whatever. Anyways, Rookie of the Year was my second favorite. Absolutely love that movie. I used to watch that on repeat too.
Pitcher's got a big butt.
I loved Henry Rosengartner. Hey,
Rosenberger. A funny story with the pitcher's got a big butt. I played adult ball not too long ago, and my wife had my kids say that to me while I was pitching. I want to say it should be pitcher has no butt because I don't really have much of one. That'd have been
back
more
to
accurate.
Back to leg.
Back to leg. But it did make the batter laugh to the point where I was able to strike him out, so it worked out well for me.
That's what it is. It's just distraction. Just
distracted
the wrong person.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Oh, goodness. All right, I feel like now we've pontificated on – this is not a baseball podcast, we promise. It's really not. We really like baseball, but we don't feel like doing all the analytics work it would take to be a Bengal and Reds podcast. We don't have that much free time, and the Bengals went out. So there it is.
All right. Favorite Bengals memory?
Oh, goodness. I'm going to put you on the spot first. Go.
Favorite Bengals memory was watching Hubbard running 99 yards with that ball and just not seeing any flags in us beating Baltimore in the playoffs. I was just elated. My wife's like, calm down. I'm like, no, you calm down. We just beat Baltimore in the playoffs. Like, be quiet. I was just so excited. And the way that it happened, too, it was just like, oh, God, they're going to score. And then all of a sudden, Hubbard takes the ball, and he's gone. And it's, so excited.
Crazy.
I still get goosebumps.
Well, that one's pretty hard to beat, but I would have to say it would be the Super Bowl year 2 years ago. Taking that field goal against Kansas City, in Kansas City, to send us to the Super Bowl. That was, it was just elation. As soon as it went through, you knew it was done, and you could just, the entire city just took just let everything out. It was beautiful.
Man, I'm going to cheat like I always do. I have two, so deal with it. If you don't like it, whatever, I don't care. The first one I was there for in person, and it was in a god-awful year. But when Corey Dillon set the single-season rushing record, he literally flopped into the end zone right in front of where I sat, like 7 rows from the field. And it was awesome. For a fan base that had no hope at the time, was dealing with a terrible season, you'd have thought they won the Super Bowl with how just excited everyone was that day. High-fiving hoo-days as they're walking out of the stands. We're 1 in like 12, yay! Whatever it was. But it was just a magical moment that you don't get to see very often in sports. It was great, but the one in recent memory, I'm going to go back to the Raiders game because the playoffs had been such a nightmare. 05, 2010, 11, or it was 09, I guess. It was 2010 when they played them. But then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, the 2015 game, which I'll never go into detail about. Don't worry, fans. It'll never be on Who Day history. That's like bringing up Bill Buckner to a Red Sox fan before the Red Sox won a World Series. You just don't do that. It hurts so bad. I did not probably talk to anyone about football for like 2 months after that. I was so mad. Just the way it happened, the way it ended. Like, there's a scar in my soul from that game.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
But when you saw the Raiders driving down the field, I was like, oh God, here we go again. It's gonna how are they gonna disappoint me again? How are they gonna put another like knife right in my heart? It seems improbable and impossible. How's this gonna keep happening? And then, okay, they just gotta stop them. I mean, I'm literally like fingers crossed on my knees, like come on, make it happen. And as soon as Pratt intercepted that, I basically blew the roof off my house. And all my neighbors in Georgia where I lived at the time were probably, what the heck is that guy yelling about? But I probably woke up everybody just screaming as loud as I could. Picked up like 2 or 3 of my kids at once, just swinging them around. Just it was a moment that you can always hold on to. And now we just got to win a Super Bowl to get that monkey off our back so people can say, well, you never won a Super Bowl. But you do know, growing up as a Bengals fan, they can't even win a playoff game. They suck. No one can say that to them now. They've won a playoff game recently. Now they just need to win a Super Bowl. So people can't say, well, you don't have a ring. No, okay. Cool story. Still a better team than yours. Anyways, I digress. But yeah, those are my good memories. I feel like we've hit a lot of random topics. We've got to save some for the rest of the offseason. We have a very, very, very long way to go. So we got to save some good stuff for what?
We have a lot of weeks to get through.
Yes. So we will be bringing some guests on in the next month or so. So be looking out for that. If you have some other exciting topics that you'd like to see, hit us up on the Facebook page, on X at Talking_Bengals or at Talking Bengals, Talking_Bengals on YouTube and Instagram, Talking Bengals on Facebook. Let us know what you want to hear. This is for the fans, by the fans. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If you got a good topic that you haven't heard anybody else bring it up, we'll be more than happy to bring it up and talk about it. So, Josh, any closing thoughts?
Hooday.
Nicholas?
Nice cardigan.
It's not quite a cardigan, but close enough, I guess. You know me all too well.
Pull over. No, it's a cardigan, but thanks, though.
Maybe you're an anti-hero. Maybe you got to shake it off.
Don't even.
They don't want to see
the vomit coming out.
It's going to be a cruel summer.
Is that one of them? I don't know that song.
Okay, so my oldest daughter is obsessed with Taylor Swift. I mean, I liked when she was a country singer a long time ago, way back in high school. But yeah, my daughter never stops talking about Taylor Swift now. So yeah, I've gotten to hear all of these songs about 1 million times. But yeah, there we go. I think we're just gonna start naming every episode a Taylor Swift song just to piss off Nick.
There's our PG rating right there. Thank you, Casey.
Hey, that's all. I said 3 sucks and 1 P word. We're fine. Anyways, that's gonna wrap us up. Thank you for listening. If you did hang out with us for this long, put a hashtag Casey Blue the PG rating and whatever post you put up, and we will laugh and we will mention you on the next episode of the podcast. So thank you guys, and hooday.
Hooday.
Hooday.